Jacqueline Hellyer here, coming from the LoveLife Clinic to share with you yet another case from my clinical practice to help inspire you in your own love life. Now, this is a really good case because it was this beautiful couple, loving couple in their 60s who hadn't had sex for 25 years. Well, the good news is they came in just yesterday, all excited, so chuffed in fact, because they had started having sex again, 3 times in fact, so it wasn't just a one-off. Now, what's so interesting about this case is what led them to be in this situation. It just came down basically to the belief system of the wife. Not to blame her anyway whatsoever, because it's so common amongst women to see sex as an obligation, as a duty, as something that men have to have. In fact, she would say this in session, and I'd say, well, clearly your husband is disproving this because he's gone for years without having had any sex, to which she'd be like, ooh, yes. Amazing how an intelligent human being can have this cognitive dissonance of observing something but still continuing to believe something very contrary. So for years, she'd been trying to sort it out on her own, and she'd done all of this therapy on her own. She'd even done sex therapy on her own, trying to figure out what her problem was so that she could fix it to make her husband happy. Now, in all this time, her husband was like, can I please come along too? And eventually she said, okay, and then they came to see me. Thank goodness, because as I always say, almost inevitably, sexual issues are relational issues. It's why I call my approach relational sexology, because it was something that was going on between them. And yes, sure, there were issues going on with her and her belief system about what men needed and what sex was, also combined with some pretty awful early sexual experiences she'd had. But, you know, kids come along and busyness and stuff, and all of that belief system and all of that history came to play that she felt like, oh my God, sex is this thing that I have to do that I don't want to do. And her husband, being a very gentle man, didn't want to impose on her, didn't want to make her feel bad. So he stepped back. And the longer this went on, actually, it then affected his confidence because he didn't feel confident to make advances or even talk about. So it just became this thing that they didn't talk about. She was off on her own trying to fix the problem, and he was just there kind of not knowing what to do. Anyway, bless them, they came to see me. And it was actually only after 9 sessions that they were able to make the change. And it came down, she said, to feeling safe. She had to feel psychologically safe to be able to open up with openness, with vulnerability, and with a sense of lightness and play, because that was really key to how they were able to resume again. So a lot of work done on belief systems, cognitive belief systems, until it got to a point where it was really embodied. Like she actually really did have this new view of what sexual intimacy was. She felt that her husband did. He had shared his vulnerabilities. So they're in this much better space. And because their relationship actually really was very, very good, which disproves the myth that bad relationships that don't have sex, because I've seen heaps of really good ones that don't have sex, and this is one of them. Very close, intimate, companionate, friendly, playful. So once we'd resolved the issues around safety, then they could use this playfulness that they had to initiate some fun nookie times. Fantastic. So there you go. Lovely example that I hope inspires you in your own love life.